Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Sunday edition of the Paranormal Weekend Morning Brew Show. I'm Nighthawk, and we've got Eric in the background, patiently waiting for my slow ass this morning. So let's get into the thick of it. The copyright disclaimer is Nighthawk High Strange, this podcast channel, may use some copyrighted materials without specific authorization of the owner, but contends that it falls under the fair use, which is the Copyright Act of 1976. Nighthawk High Strange, this podcast channel, and all the podcasts on the channel declare fair use of any and all content to be used for purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, parody, and general knowledge only. And let's not forget the entertainment value per Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Okay. And if you all noticed, I've got a little bit of relaxing music playing in the background. Let me get this copyright disclaimer off of here, and we'll get into the thick of discussions today. I'm not fully awake, folks. In fact, I'm still making my coffee, so hang in there with me. And Eric, how are you doing this morning, brother?
I am tired, but I'm here, baby. Ready to rock and roll.
You got that right. I think this is going to be our slow day.
Yeah. Well, you know, like I said backstage, I couldn't figure out what to do a show on tonight, so I was like, man, I set it up. I'm just going to do a Q&A tonight.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of what we're really kind of doing this morning. I wanted to talk about all the orbs that everybody's seeing in the skies and all the blinking lights and, you know, the weird phenomena going on with the tall humanoid looking beings, you know, and pillars being seen in the sky, you know, all the weird stuff everybody is seeing nowadays. And get into that in the UFO topic today. So that being said, let's go to the chat so I can say hello to everybody. Let's see here. My computer is, I don't know, man. I don't know if it's the computer or if it's the internet, but something's going on with it.
Yeah. I decided to do a different kind of morning thing this morning.
Good Lord, I can't believe there's that much conversation. Roxanne, Good to see you. There's that ED again.
Yeah, that damn
I don't know who
you.
that guy is.
Yeah.
David, good to see you down there. Cynthia, good to see you. Okay, let's see. Who else we got? We got Ida. Good to see you, Ida. Let's see here. Corey, good to see you. All right. I think that's everybody that's in the chat, at least.
Gemini,
oh, no, Rhonda's in there. Let's see. Gemini Moon, good to see you. And, of course, ED, good to see you, brother.
Howdy ho. Hey, Blue.
Hey, Blue, good to see you. Oh man, yeah, it's been a heck of a night. I think I fell asleep about 1:30, somewhere around there.
Yeah, me too.
In the morning, and
according to Fitbit,
I kept on waking up like every hour on the hour.
Oh dang!
Yeah.
Yeah, I just checked it. Fitbit said I fell asleep at I think it was somewhere around 1:30 and woke up at 8 something. I was like, dude, I do not feel like it this morning.
Sorry, everybody, but I'm getting my cup of coffee. Anyways, you got any good UFO or alien things or things in the sky around your place?
Well, I've been kind of looking. We've had a lot of rain, so I've not been able to keep an eye on my skies because I've been looking for my orbs. Once I start seeing the orbs in the sky that I usually see just about every single night here, I'm going to be setting up my camera and recording it, and I'll be posting it to my YouTube. But usually I'll see orbs across the night sky all the time. And the reason why I say they're orbs is because they don't have blinking lights. They move weird. That's what takes my focus. If it was a satellite, it'd be a straight line. I get them that do zip
Right.
zaps and all different types of stuff. So I've been kind of looking at that at nighttime. I haven't seen them. What clear nights we've had, I have not seen them yet, but I'm keeping an eye on it.
Well, I know there's a lot of yeah, I know there's a lot of weird stuff in the night sky because Tracy and I see it all the time, and my son Dylan and Dakota see it all the time too. Um,
Hmm.
you know, they report it to me, and unfortunately, half the time they report it to me, I'm too damn tired to go outside and look at it. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to hook. This is where David could help me out if he could. I'm thinking of trying to set up an outside Wi-Fi camera that I can point to the sky of our place because we have open view of the sky at our place, you know, on the
Hmm.
one field side and where all the activity is. And then we've got the cattle ranch behind us, behind the tree line. So, and you know, cattle ranches and UFOs and cattle mutilations tend to run together. So
Oh
I
yeah.
was thinking that'd be a way to put an angle on a camera to take a and automatically feed it to the web to the not the website but the actual YouTube channel 24/7 or at least during the nighttime, you know, from dusk to dawn, you know, and have a
Hmm.
live feed going all the time so people can, you know, check it out. I don't know. I'll have to talk to David about that because David's real close to me, and I don't know if I have the mental capacity to actually get that set up. I've got an idea on a camera, a wireless camera, but and it's not really that expensive. It's well, it was like $20 on during Amazon days. I haven't gotten it yet though, but I was thinking of doing something like that. Um, because there's so many, we see all kinds of weird stuff, and we've had, like I said, we've had these huge
Hmm.
military drones come down on the property and literally go in and out of certain buildings and stuff and structures around the property.
I'll be shooting
And
them.
you know, yeah, I mean, well, you can't. It's against the federal law to shoot them out of the sky.
Dallas County Sheriff's told me if they're on your property, shoot them. Because that's what I would do.
And we're talking levels to where you know they come down low enough that they're like 10 feet off the ground and they're coming
Hmm.
around. And I don't know if it's because see about 30 minutes away from us we have a dumb facility, um, and the mountain it's in is very close to our area, and we have all kinds of silent military aircraft that go up and down in the area all the time, and then we've got the big C-130s and stuff like that coming through, you know, for a military base up in West Virginia. So you know, it's it's kind of doubtful that they wouldn't be keeping a closer eye on the area, especially seeing as the times of being the way they are. But I just think it's odd because not only do we have the high drone activity, we have orbs that we see which are white or yellowish color, and then we have a real brilliant red type of an orb that we see all the time, and we're talking anywhere from 10,000 feet in the sky to a couple hundred feet in the sky. So you know, it's kind of hard to figure out what they are. Um, I've seen portals. I've recorded portals on the property. Anyways, it's on the channel. Um, So I'm kind of doubting that they're actually portals that are opening up in the sky. You see, the difference between a portal and an orb is not much when you actually look at it in the sky. It's not like your your movement, your body movement, and your eye movement is able to depict if it's moving actually or if it's sitting still. So most of the times it's not sitting still, and portals they do move. They have a tendency to move left or right, or up and down, but to move completely like miles upon miles out of the out, in movement from left to right is unusual, unless they have a control over where the portal opening opens up at. Good morning, Overbuilt. Castor Paulus, good to see you. Well, let's see. Anyways, just thinking about it just kind of fascinates me because I mean, you know as well as I do, you've probably jumped out of a perfectly good aircraft and repelled out of perfectly good aircraft, just like I have. And I know he probably has. So, I kind of get that. It's a thrill that you get when you first jump out, or you rappel out. It's that initial thrill of being up that high. It's the sudden stops you got to worry about.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I wonder a lot about this activity and if it really is our military doing it all the time, or if it's like we've talked about before with the holographic imaging that the military uses and the governments use, to kind of trick the citizens into seeing what they're seeing. There's several different things, or is it actually alien activity? You think that I've had this theory this last couple of weeks that I've been investigating, and I've talked to several other researchers too, concerning this, and I've always mentioned the ancient AI theory, almost like our planet is running on automatic AI, like the AI was established 6,000, 6,500 years ago, and it is running a program on this world to make us interact with things, kind of like an experiment. I know it's not our AI. I know our AI just became, available here within the last couple years. God knows how long the military's been using it, though. They probably tapped into an original AI network, dozens, if not 100 years ago. So that could be it. Maybe it is all just this psychedelic type of a experiment. Kind of like what President Kennedy was talking about with what the CIA was doing to everybody back in the 60s.
Yeah. I'm trying to pull up something now. I'm trying to remember the site. But it allows me to freely track. God bless America. If this is accurate, we got a shit ton of planes in the sky right now.
Morning, Ray.
I got my iPad up next to me. I'm trying to get that pulled up.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you would know how to hook up an outside camera, but I've never done it before on this.
I've been kind of kicking that around myself. I've thought about having one facing my woods and then one facing the night sky. But I was like, man, if I get to putting that crap up, I'm worried about somebody hacking into it and getting into my stuff. That's like the one thing that stopped me from doing it.
Morning, Overbuilt. Yeah, I don't know. There's just a lot of weird crap in the sky, and you get everybody saying they're seeing like the flying monsters in the sky or the giant humanoids in the sky. Or there was one video that I saw. It's kind of hard to depict if it's real or not because of AI, unfortunately. But it looked like giant pillars, like the old Roman Colosseum pillars, in the sky, and just all kinds of weird stuff. Dragons, flying humanoids. I mean, just all kinds of weird stuff. So it just makes you wonder if putting a full-time camera out and shooting it at the sky, you might want to, you might be able to catch something, because one of my things are, and David would know this too, that with our eyes, our vision is very, very limited to a very small part of the scale for visibility and light and all that. So wouldn't a camera have the ability to pick up more than what we can actually see? I remember back in the 70s and 80s, they had this thing with flying rods. You guys remember the flying rods that they tried to debunk, that everybody was getting on their video cameras back then in the 80s? The flying rods, multiple wings. They kept on saying, "Oh, no, that's just a bird, and it's just the way the camera takes the picture and the time frame, and it just elongates the bird, and that's what you're seeing, and all this crap." But they debunked that, and they never really got a solid conclusion on flying rods. And I'm just kind of curious, because we don't really know what's happening. We can't see around us, and maybe that is some kind of an entry from another dimension coming through and flying through our dimension. I know there was one scientist that said that they were from the fifth dimension, which, by the way, is a pretty good group too. But he soon, after he came up with that conclusion, he soon disappeared, and nobody knows where he went. I forget the scientist's name, but back in 1984 he came out, and he was talking about the flying rods, and it was like by 1986 he was nowhere to be found. So did he become unalived of what his research was telling us? Who's to say? Yeah. Ida says cameras outside are a good idea, but inside I fear that it would be hacked. Yeah. And that's the other thing too. I really don't want to have the network hacked or have somebody's idiotic voice coming across the speaker on the camera, because it's going to have volume control and stuff on it to where you can record sound too. I don't really want to hear somebody saying some kind of racist stuff or slurs towards certain things, or some comedian coming on thinking he's funny, you know what I mean, at all hours of the night. So the camera will need to have a night vision. Yeah, it has night vision. Black and white, huh? Okay. Yeah, well, see, I already have one night vision camera, but it's more of an inside camera. I mean, I could mount it somewhere around the front door of the house and have it pointing to the sky, but then I have the trees around there that it would have to be able to see through. So that wouldn't do any good there. I was thinking more on the south eastern corner of the house, the southwestern corner of the house. So, and pointing towards the sky. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I'm still trying to work out the bugs and stuff in it and try to figure out what's the best way to do it. Because I would rather record live feed from like dusk to dawn, because that's when the majority of the activity happens in the sky around here. So,
yep. Like I've had people that didn't believe in UFOs, and I've brought them out to my house because I live way out in the boonies, y'all. I mean, I live literally out in the middle of freaking nowhere. You know, you've heard DA talk about it and me talk about it before. It's quite literal. My directions are go till you see this big cut up tree, hang a left or right there. You follow it down till you see this, and then you come down. Literally, you go till you hear banjos, and you keep going till you stop hearing banjos, and then you're getting out to my house. I literally live out in the middle of nowhere, which is great because I don't have light pollution. The closest light pollution I've got is 12 miles to the northwest of me, and that's a small town, and it closes down around 8, 9 o'clock at night. It just closes down. So I don't have light pollution. The biggest city to me is Springfield. That's 32 miles south of me. That's like, and then the next closest one would be Lebanon, which is 31 miles northeast of me. I don't get the light pollution everybody else has got, so I get to see a lot of stuff out here. Yeah, Roxanne.
Yeah, we don't.
That's why
we don't get a lot of light pollution either here too, because we're kind of out in the country too. Nothing but farmland and railroad tracks around us, basically. Railroad tracks that are abandoned. But yeah, we don't get a lot of light. But eventually, you know, I mean, who knows? You know, I just don't know. I'm gonna have to, you know, figure out what to do because I definitely want it to where it'll record at least dusk to dawn. So because like I said, we've been seeing a lot of weird stuff, a lot of weird, even weird cryptid sightings. Because the last time I was down by where David lives, I actually saw a huge bird. Almost like a thunderbird, I would say. It could have passed for a thunderbird. That's how big the wingspan was on this thing. I at first thought it was a little Cessna one engine, you know, airplane. But I looked at it again, and it was one giant bird leading a group of other turkey vultures. So in our area, so yeah, and it was heading south. So I don't know if it was migrating or what, but it was about that time of the year, around April or around there of this year when I saw it. So, Juno, good to see you.
Yeah. I mean, I've kicked that around several times. My biggest fear, though, is just for some reason it's going to get hacked.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about drones. I've had drones flying on my property before until I started bringing out the shotgun. And we talked to the Dallas County sheriffs about it, and I was like, "Look, I'm getting tired of shit. Where I'm gonna blow the damn thing out of the damn sky." He goes, "That's what I would do. Big if it's flying eye level and it's spying in on your house, shoot the damn thing." And I said, "Okay." So I started pulling out the shotgun, and ever since then, I ain't had the issue. So that's a good thing. That's what I love about Missouri. Missouri is a no bullshit state. We got one of the greatest governors in the country, man. He'll tell the Fed, you come in here and mess with my people, I'll arrest you.
Right. Overbuilt says cams on private off the internet networks that the way, and it is, I guess I agree, guys, never do cloud storage anything. Yeah, cloud storage is definitely one thing that I avoid. Good morning, Kyle. Good to see you. Let me see what Kyle has to say here. Oh, wow. Come on. There we go. There's a donkey standing at the fence corner on the left. I play a banjo, so does the sun. When I hear banjo music, I know I'm home. Oh, yeah, that's when Kyle's butt cheeks tighten up when he hears the banjo.
Okay, I got it. Oh, that's so good to do
that. Oh, man. Your best bet is to get the standalone recorder in the camera, 24/7 recording. It will have. Let me see what the cheap ones cost. A direct connection. the the house. So because of this place, I would have to drill through the house. I already got, you know, ants are really bad this year here. I've been battling them, in the kitchen and everything. So, but really bad here this year. So I don't know if I want to do any drilling through the actual house, if you know what I mean, because that'd just make another entryway for them, even if the soil comes up.
Just for that comment, I got it. Getting it to play here for a second, just because. Come on to the good part. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. I can't resist, man. I've brought people out to my house before that didn't believe in UFOs, and I'll show them the night sky, and they'll be like, "Oh, that is not a satellite." I was like, "No, it ain't. I tried to tell you."
Yeah.
And it's funny because they all give me. And they're like,
yeah, one thing
dude,
one thing that I haven't really talked about very much was after I got out of the military. I was basically working at a haunted house for a JC's group, a business group for the JC's. And it was a haunted house around October, and it was around 1987 and I had just gotten out of the military, like not even a month before that. And anyways, to make a long story short, we were coming home I was driving my pickup truck then, and we were coming home from the haunted house, and it was like 2:30 in the morning, and it was a chilly morning. It wasn't real cold, but it was chilly. Cold enough to wear a jacket, But anyways, we come around the corner. I had my two buddies in the truck with me, my best friend and best man at my wedding, Tracy's and my wedding, who ironically committed suicide a while back, a couple years ago, thanks to the pressures of society being on military personnel that have spent 20 some years in the military that can't really adapt to the way society has been since they changed from civilian to military. That's a whole nother story. And then my other buddy I went hunting with all the time. We come around the corner on this country road, and it was a blacktop road. It wasn't a dirt road or anything. And there's a place called Asbury Woods and Nature Preserve, which is in the area where this craft was. And there's this recreational area that had a couple tennis courts and a couple basketball courts, and then it had like a softball field, and all that before it got into the thick wood line. And as we were coming around the corner, we were turning around the corner. When we got right at that corner and the truck headlights shined into the softball field, we saw this big black triangle craft, and the bottom lights on it was about 10 feet off of the surface of the field, hovering. And the bottom lights on it had three distinctive lights in each corner of the triangle, but they were really, really red. Like they were glowing red hot, if you know what I mean, that kind of red. And basically, from that point, and from that actual initial point of contact, None of us remember anything. I literally remember just driving into my driveway of my house at like must have been about 3:30 in the morning or so, and being home. And I remember getting out of the truck and thinking, how in the hell? I don't even remember dropping them off at their house. So it was like, how in the hell? What the hell just happened? So I got inside and I called the local tower, the observant tower there for the airport, and they said that there was no traffic at that time in the morning. And I said, well, this would have been below radar because it was below the tree line. And the guy kind of said, well, I can't discuss that. And so I hung up, and I was so frustrated because for the longest time I didn't know what happened. Well, about a year and a half ago, after meeting Jessica and talking to her, and Jessica, if you're in a chat, hello. She said, why don't I remote view that for you? And I said, well, that'd be great if you could. So she remote viewed it, and she confirmed everything that I said, that it did happen, and that all three of us were taken basically on board, and it was something that we agreed to. Now, oh, Corey, that thing was as big as the softball field. It literally covered the entire field. Okay, the fence line that was around the field, literally, that craft was almost sitting on top of that fence line. That's how low it was to the ground. But anyways, to make a long story short, Jessica remote viewed it and confirmed everything, that it did happen, that, we were taken on board, and that the details were on her private page there on I think on Patreon. And I haven't had a chance to really go on there and look at it, but yeah, just to have that confirmed kind of made me feel like I wasn't out of my mind, So, but because there for the longest time, all three of us would get together and we would talk about that night, and none of us could remember anything after seeing that. And the last thing, in fact, I remember as far as my vivid memory going is my buddy Tom pointing to the front windshield of the truck and going, "What the hell is that?" And that's the last thing I remember hearing. So it was really a bizarre encounter, but that was my one and only actual close up encounter of that type of an incident. Now, have I seen things in the sky? Oh yes, I think everybody sees things in the sky. I think that everybody just doesn't report it because they don't want to be deemed crazy. But now that the UFO disclosure stuff came out, since 2017, people are starting to realize, well, maybe some of this stuff in the sky isn't really supposed to be there. Maybe it is another craft from another dimension or another universe. In fact, Tracy and I were watching this one van lifer that we watch all the time on YouTube. And he's a mechanic, and he does a lot of good for people. Lauren, if you're out there listening, God bless you, brother. Anyways, he was doing a camp over, and I think it was Vancouver Island up in Canada. And he had some people with him that were observing these things in the sky. And they talked about it on the podcast. And Lauren was set in his ways to say that it was a satellite, and it's the same thing that we all report seeing. It's a blinking, clear to a white color, yellow color object that blinks, all the time, constantly, and moves across the sky at a very, very weird trajectory. Usually, it's so low in the sky that it can't be a satellite. You know, it's like that 10,000 to 20,000 foot level, you know, in the sky where aircraft fly, you know, all the time. And but anyways, they had the video of it, and it's exactly the same kind of orbs that, you know, me and Tracy and Dylan and Dakota see all the time in the sky, you know, and it's just all these years of everybody just, you know, second guessing themselves to basically make themselves think that they're not crazy. All these years, these 40, 50, 60, 70 years of people seeing things, and finally getting that reassurance, you know, that these things exist. So, but is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? Now, there are, like I said, there are portals that open up in the sky that go brilliant white, and then they blip out real quick. Just they're opened long enough, basically, for something to come through, and then they blip out. Okay, so those I see a lot. But yeah, there's so much weird stuff. Who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, it's I accidentally typed on the wrong thing, so I'm trying to fix it. I saw what looked like a shooting star straight down, came to a complete stop at full speed, and slowly descended at a 30-degree angle. Damn, Kyle. Hell yeah. I mean, it's
so he knows
there's so much interest. Yeah.
Yeah, he knows what we're talking about. Yeah. No, I mean, just, you know, Kyle knows and David knows, and I'm sure you know, everybody sees them, you know, but nobody wants to answer the question as to what we're seeing, you know.
Better refresh my deal here. Yeah, because it was only showing 2 likes. Oh, now I got 14. Okay, never mind. My deal was behind. Yeah, I mean, there's so much interesting stuff that happens at night or in the skies at night. I mean, it does during the day too, but you're correct. It seems to be more prevalent at night. Maybe it's because it's harder for them to see and people mistake them as satellites, and that's why we see them more at night. I don't know, but
right.
Yeah, I mean, most of what I've ever saw has been nighttime. I've seen some really strange crap during the day, but that's been few and far in between. Most of the stuff, like my very first UFO encounter or sighting I ever had, I was like 8 or 9 years old, and it was down in Forsyth, Missouri on Christmas Eve. And this was back in the 80s, and we were heading back home. We lived at Rogersville Trailer Park at the time. And we were heading back home. We were visiting Grandma and Grandpa down Forsyth. And I happened to, it was back in the old days when you didn't wear seatbelts. And I liked to stay in the back window of the truck or the car. I loved it. We had a Monte Carlo, I believe is what we had at a time. And I was in the back window looking up, and I seen a row of blinking colored lights. I was like, Mom, there's Santa. And she goes, well, you better get to sleep, otherwise he ain't going to drop your presents off. So I was like, oh, okay. And so I started waving because at that age, I thought I was seeing Santa Claus, man. And that thing turned into a circle, and I was, what the hell? Then it started spinning really, 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 really fast, and then boom, took off. I was like, well, that must be how Santa moves fast. So I got my butt back down in the seat, and I went to sleep.
Wow. Yeah, the only other time I've actually physically had a sighting, other than that close up time, and some of the orbs that we see and stuff, was I was at work one morning, and I actually got so freaked out that I called my wife Tracy up on the phone and told her to go outside and look at the sky. It was about 8 o'clock or so in the morning. It was early morning. It was a summer morning, so it was warm out. And I was on a break from taking a break, from working in the store, and I was standing behind the building, and I was looking out over the farmers' fields and stuff, and the cattle's and stuff, and the cattle ranches and stuff behind the store. And I looked up, and there was this jet airliner flying, right, and it was probably going at about 10,000 feet, and it was going like this, and then all of a sudden I saw this cigar-looking thing behind it, about 100 feet behind it, and then I saw two more, one above it coming down, and another one coming up towards the airplane. Okay, and those objects stayed with that plane as it moved, and they were all three of those objects were cigar looking objects, and they were completely silver in color. In fact, they were so silver that when the sun reflected off of its surface, it would literally like blind you because it was so bright. And you know, I called Tracy up on the phone, and I told her, I said, can you just go outside and see what you see, make sure that I'm seeing what I'm seeing, and she went outside and she said, yeah, she saw the one cigar looking thing that was silver, no wings, no nothing, no sound, and she saw the airplane, but the other two had disappeared. So they say that they see a lot of cigar looking type of things in the sky anymore, and that was the first time I actually saw a cigar looking type of a craft. Otherwise it's been basically orbs and saucer shapes and stuff like that that we see in the sky. But that was the first one, and I remember I drew a picture of it because I didn't have a camera at the time, and I had a cheap flip up phone, so of course I couldn't videotape it. So I drew a picture of it, and to this day I can't find that picture, but I did draw a detailed picture of what I saw, and it's still vivid in my mind too. It really is. But she confirmed everything that I said, that it was a cigar-shaped craft, and it was silver, and when the sunlight hit it, it glistened, like a real shiny stainless steel surface. So really, really cool. Penny, good to see you.
Well,
Savage, good to see you.
Don brings up a good thing or something kind of interesting here, because I've actually seen that what she talks about a few times. I've seen stars split apart and then come back together. I've seen that, and I've seen one like the when I was in San Diego, California boot camp. Me and we'll just say Henry were on fire watch, and Henry goes, "Hey T, come here, man. You gotta check this crap out." I was like, "All right, man, I'm on my way." So I go over there because I'm thinking, "Oh crap, there's something going on," and look up, and there's just these two stars that were like this, and they're just kind of doing this number. All of a sudden, they split up, and then there were three stars, and they're kind of rectangular shape. And then the damn thing started dancing around, doing all sorts of weird shit, and doing it fast, and then bam, took off. I mean, I've seen the star splits quite a few times. So I mean, oh yeah, I can validate hers big time.
Yeah,
Corey said he emailed you.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Corey. Yeah, I'll check that out, brother. I will definitely check that out. Okay. Yeah, because I know Corey's seen some weird shit. I know that, man. In fact, you know what, Corey? Let me put a link in the chat, and if it'll let me.
Man, I missed one.
Seriously?
I think I missed one. I'm trying to get caught up on everybody's comments. Maybe I didn't. I thought I missed something. It is, Don. It really is. It is strange, but it's cool as hell at the same time, dude. I mean, I get just as excited with UFOs as I do with paranormal and supernatural and cryptid. I love every bit of that. That's why I'm not one of these guys that sit there and go on basically one type of subject. I like it all, man. That's why my show is called The Bizarre and the Unknown. I love it all. I get just as excited about UFOs as I do as ghosts and demons and Bigfoot and Dogman and Werewolf and Wolfman. And I mean, I love it all. Penny says, William and Eric sending you a link of a fun vid I saw in the middle of the night when I couldn't sleep. Sounds good. You got my email, Penny? If not, I can put it up for you, sweetheart. Corey said, William, I've seen a triangle craft flying and tracking down the Red River at night. Dead silent. I noticed it blocked out the stars. That is, I've never seen the triangle. I've seen things turn into triangles. I've never seen a triangle, and that's cool as hell.
Right. Yeah. And some of the stuff that we've seen also are there's those round disc-shaped objects, but they look like they're kind of like turning a quarter up on its side, and holding the quarter at the grooves on the side, and then it has a hole in the center of it, like a donut. It looks like a donut, it really does, but it's white, a whitish yellow. Okay. And it blinks also off and on constantly. And we've seen several of those. And I always thought, well, that kind of reminds me of that Bible story in there with Ezekiel's wheel, where it came down and described it as a round, fiery object that was blinking off and on, and inside it, on other parts of it. So, yeah, I'm pretty the whole
sure
thing.
That's what Enoch.
Yeah,
I'm going to check it out. I'm pretty sure that's what Enoch described as well.
But it just dawned on me, though, that it could possibly be the same object that they saw back in the days of the Bible, when the scrolls were written, the Dead Sea Scrolls were written. And it just seems odd to me that we would see that kind of stuff this time in our time frame that was reported back in the days of the Bible. So that's proof right there that they've been coming here for at least several thousand years, so but my main thing is it extraterrestrial, or is it from within, say, the earth? You know what I mean? And Jessica touched on that part of the subject last night on her podcast that we were watching, about where these UFOs may possibly come from. And I'm a really firm believer. I mean, please correct me, because I don't even know. I'm not a big, into, investigating UFOs. I've done a few of them, but, not a lot. But, I'm under the impression that they're more terrestrial, because the way our planet has been described by prominent people like Admiral Byrd and all that. I believe that some of these crafts may be coming from the deep depths of the ocean, or coming from the inner earth type of an area. And, I really don't believe that the majority of them come from outer space. I really don't. And, those that know me know that I kick around the whole flat earth theory, okay? But I'm not one to say the earth is completely flat, okay? I consider it more like a football shape, you know what I mean? And a dome on it. But if it is described, if our earth is described as it says in the Bible, then we have so much undiscovered land that, hey, how we doing, brother? We have so much undiscovered land that, we don't know where they're coming from. So what's up, man? What you got?
I was laying in the back of a pickup bed one night down on the Red River, just watching the stars, and all of a sudden I see one disappear. And I'm sitting there thinking, what the hell, And I see another one disappear. And I see another one disappear. This thing's dead silent. It's about the size of a football field. And you can see the triangle pattern by how it blocked out the stars. Massive. Going right over the top. Dead silent. No sound whatsoever.
Yeah. Like I said, I wish I could find that picture that I had that I drew of the triangle craft, but I actually have. Let me see if I can find it while you're talking. But yeah, I might have it. Let me see here. You can go ahead. Keep on going there, brother.
Oh, I just I became obsessed with this thing, and then I finally come across some information about the Aurora TR3B, and look at if you look on Google Patents, the patent for it's on there for the triangle craft. Yeah.
But was the TR3B around back in 1987? That's the thing that I'm
hearing
sure
is this thing.
The time.
This thing. Well, I've heard from what I've read and all the research I've done, these things have been around a long time, and a lot of people that know about them consider it old tech now, old technology. And they say they've got things that just blow these things out of the water now. But they're usually the picture I sent you from the space station. You can watch the video access, and somebody happened to be watching it, and they just caught it just at the right time. And they said they went back frame by frame, went back like 200 or 300 frames, and caught all three of them sitting on the outer edge of the planet of Earth. And it's a perfect shot of them.
Yeah, what's really strange to me too, though, is when you describe the angels, the way the angels are described in the Bible, especially the archangels, having the what 10 feathered wings type of a thing, those entities have been seen in the sky also, and as far up as satellites go, at least they've been seen. In fact, I even think the International Space Station actually had a videotape of one of those type of entities, and I believe that the Russian cosmonauts described that same type of being outside the window of their capsule when they were in outer space.
I've read about that. I've read that story.
Yeah. So it's amazing to me that think that I mean, I'm not a real Bible versed scholar type of person, but I do know several of the books that were left out, and like Eric was saying, in the Book of Enoch, it talks about those same types of crafts that are seen, especially the ones with the circle in the center of it. Looks like a big donut, like Ezekiel's wheel. So I mean, there's so many things that it could be. But are you under the impression, Corey, that they come from another dimension or another planet, or do you think that they come from within the Earth?
Yes. I think everything's possible. I think everything you just said is very possible. And what I've gotten into and what I believe now is whatever you can imagine, the truth is probably 1,000 times crazier. But I think that the TR3B is ours, our technology that we've reverse engineered. And from what I've heard, these things have been around for 40 years, these triangle craft. And I'm not saying each one of them is ours that people have seen, but I've got a friend who really doesn't like to talk about this kind of stuff, and he talked about seeing one night, and he said this was a small one, and he said you could see it. It was over the city in Walters, Oklahoma, and he said it came over his house, and he said it stopped, turned around, and shot back west, and he said it looked like it was gold.
Wow.
Was the color.
Wow. Yeah,
because I was telling you about the incident I had at the river.
Yeah, the craft that we saw back in 1987, in October, coming home from the haunted house, it was literally the same if not a little bit bigger, might have been a little bit bigger than the actual baseball field, softball field that it was over. And it was about 10 feet off the ground. So it put it about 4 feet above the 4-foot fence line, somewhere around there. That's around the perimeter of the outside of the baseball field. And it was the exact size of the field. So it wasn't a big craft, but yet it was a big enough craft that you could not help but see it. But the red lights, I remember the red lights and how almost hypnotic they were, almost to the point where the lights just kind of, back in the 70s, we had this thing called a heating lamp where my mother used to use it a lot, and
I used them when I raised show pigs.
It was a red bulb.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a red bulb inside this big tube, and you would lay on the floor and you'd turn it on and you'd get a suntan. God knows what else it did to you. It was that kind of a red light that was shining out of it, but it was 1,000 times brighter.
Yeah. The night I saw that thing, there were no lights. But I mean,
okay.
I watched a video. A guy got, I think this was in Montana, and he was behind it going down a blacktop, and it was right in front of him, above him, and it broke to the right over the tree line, but it was lit up. It had all the lights activated on it and everything. And this is some of the best footage I've ever seen captured of the TR3B. I saw it on Robert Bauer's Nexus podcast, and the guy sent it in. He was in the live chat, and he sent it in and was talking about it. But this is an amazing video capture, and it's what I seen that night. But I'm gonna tell you, you talk about an ominous feeling when this thing started blocking out the stars. I heard the music from Star Wars where you hear the dun 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 dun. But when you see something that
they have this theory about our moon being the Death Star. So
yeah, I've read about that. They said it's an ancient method.
Penny's got a question for you.
I can't see the live chat.
Yeah, that's fine. She asked, does your family share your interest in all things outside the box?
Some of them. I think it's a mixture of, I've heard, that's stupid. And then I say, well, do you think what I'm saying's, untrue? Well, no. But what good does it do to research and study this stuff? And I'm like, are you serious?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I just, and then other ones are terrified. Like, I went and had dinner with the family the other day, and I took that fossilized giant finger, and I had it out in the pickup. I told somebody, I said, my aunt, I said, do you want to see it? She said, yeah. And I brought it in, and I don't think she was expecting this, to see this thing in the detail. And when I held it to her, she goes, oh, get that away. Terrified. And she wanted to see it. So that's the other half. A lot of them are just scared. They don't want to know.
Yeah.
I've had one girl tell me, Corey, I don't want to know anything about this. So yeah, it's a mixture, just like everywhere else.
Yeah.
But
yeah, definitely. And I'm looking for the picture that I uploaded that shows. Oh, where is it? Oh, tell me I didn't get it.
I want to bring you back out.
It shows a certain type of a craft being used by our military. Let me check my downloads and see if it's there.
Is that over in Afghanistan? Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, here it is. Yeah, here it is. Let me show you. You probably can't see it. Darn.
No.
Oh, wait a minute. What's going on? Hold on. Let me see here. Come on, phone, work. Technology is great when it works, guys.
Oh yeah.
When it works.
When you want to show something
All
cool,
right, let's.
they mess with you.
Yep, I find it
Come
kind of
on.
interesting when we talk about time lapse. I've had that timer too, and I've always chalked it up to, well, I slept on my drive home because I remember leaving work in Stratford back when 76 truck stop was there, and somehow I'm in my road. I can't see that very well. Let me hold on. Let me
I can
change
kind of
the
make
view.
that out.
See
That
if I
top one there. Yeah, that top and the bottom one. Yeah, that top one is. Let me see if I hold it farther back.
There's also photos of one of the TR-3Bs
Come on.
sitting on an aircraft carrier. And it's an old picture. You know, this was back before the AI technology and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's sitting on an aircraft carrier.
All right. Oh,
Benny.
come on, phone. Why are you doing this to me? Man, this phone is about as bad as my computer now. I think they're really
Well,
trying to
send
hack
it
it.
to me. Send it to
I
me,
can't.
William, and I'll put it up on the deal where we can
All
actually
right.
see it on the screen.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. Let me send it. See, this is why I need help with my camera for the outside observatory.
Man, a friend of mine's got a
All right.
nice hunting scope, and it's got the sights in the middle of it where you can kind of dial in on it. And one night he said, man, look up at the sky. So I laid down on this trailer where I could hold myself still and hold the scope still. And every time I would get on this light, it would move out of the way, like it could see the beam that this thing was shooting. And I don't what is that, Eric?
Huh.
The hunting scopes that shoot, we can't see it, but they say cryptids and
Red
stuff
dot?
can. Huh?
Red dot. You talk about infrared or red dot?
Infrared. Okay, that's what this was. It was infrared, and every time I'd start to get the sights on that light, that son of a gun would move out of the way. And I had to get down and get still, you know, so I knew it wasn't me doing this. And when I got laid down on that trailer and got still, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't get it zeroed in. It would move every time. I said, this thing, you know, it can see.
The thing with infrared or IR, and this is one of the leading theories in cryptozoology right now, is the fact that they can see it, and that's why you don't capture them. Which I can see that because even outside of my game cams, I've got X's done by trees right outside the range of my game cams. So I kind of subscribe to that theory that they can see that IR, you know, the infrared, the night vision, whatever it is you want to call it. I kind of see that as being a possibility because I have this stuff going on. Now, what I caught the other day, what I was sharing last night on my show, I can't tell you that's cryptid, but I'm always on the hopes maybe I might accidentally get one, as like when a coon passes by it, or a possum or a wolf or a coyote or whatever it is passing by my game cam, accidentally snaps one that's off in the distance.
Look at what happens when I try to send the picture. Look at what happens. I don't know if you can read that.
No,
Error
says, oh wow.
It says ED Testerman's not found.
No shit.
Where you at,
ED
Eric?
Testerman not found.
I'm going.
ED turned invisible.
Now tell me if they're not messing. They've got to be messing with me.
They got it because Penny
They're
just sent me
definitely
something. So and Corey texted it to me.
Let me try this again.
I can email that to you, but
Yeah. Can you try emailing it, William? I mean, we can try it that way. I'm not a bot. I'm fluffy. Was it?
Eric was a bot.
Yeah,
I'm a fluffy bot.
Penny puppy bot.
You know, that's not a bad idea.
Oh man,
Camo
they
Dad.
are really messing with me. What the?
That's not a bad idea. The old
What's
35 millimeter camera
Old
may
school
not spook
35.
stuff as much.
I've heard people talk about that, Camo Dad, about using older cameras. You know. But
Penny's
Come
picking
on.
on me today. Now
I'm
she's
still
usually
fighting
Roxanne,
with
but
it.
Penny's doing it.
the night I
Maybe
captured
Roxanne paid for me.
the night I captured those that gold orb out in front of my place, we couldn't see it with the naked eye. And we both used our phones separately, went out there, took the pictures, snapping them. And then when we went to do our flash, we took turns taking the pictures so the flash wouldn't from the other phone wouldn't interfere with the one taking the picture. And we took turns snapping the pictures, and we both caught the same thing and couldn't see it with the naked eye.
Well, when I was
came in and
doing
started
that,
Man,
when I was doing that paranormal investigation at the Shade Beaver Bar in Everton, Missouri, that's on my YouTube with DA and his family. I didn't see the orbs that shot over my shoulder, but right towards the end of the videos, you can watch them, and an orb shoots over my shoulder and kicks off to the left.
now you see, there's a difference though, because I'm sure Corey knows, and you know, Eric, but some of the people in the chat don't understand that some of the orbs that we see can be supernatural in its abilities. It can be more like a spirit, or the spirit of something moving around, just like the Brown Mountain lights that people see in the Brown Mountains. But for the most of it, I would say that it is definitely something strange in the sky. But a lot of the lower level ones, I believe, are more supernatural in nature.
Well,
I had
and that's
an
the
orb.
thing when you're doing paranormal
Yeah, go ahead.
investigations, you got to remember, just because you see an orb doesn't always mean it's spiritual. Bugs can come up and dust particles can come up looking orb-like. The thing I look for is how it moves. If it moves oddly, that's what brings my interest up, is this could possibly be super paranormal. If it just kind of trickles down, okay, that's dust. If it kind of lingers around and just kind of does that, to me, that's insect. But like that one that shot over my shoulder and kicked off to the left, and it was like quick. I mean, doom, doom, doom. To me, that leads more towards paranormal.
There's a salvage yard. There's a salvage yard that sits to the south and to the west of me. One night, I let this little puppy I had in my daughter's out to go, potty. And this dog was very sensitive to supernatural stuff. And she was just a puppy. And she went out the front doors of my shop.
I'm going to send this picture to the Weirdo Warriors alerts on Messenger.
Okay.
Because it's still telling me there's nobody by the name of E.D. Testerman.
Huh.
He's a secret agent.
Yeah.
A secret agent bot.
That's funny.
He's a secret agent
and I'll pull
bot.
it up. Yeah, I am.
But
yes,
this
no matches were found for E.D. Testerman.
Oh wow, that's weird because Penny just sent me something too.
This puppy I had, as soon as it broke out of my shop doors, looked over at the salvage yard and hackles and started growling. And I looked over there, and there were all different colors. And I know all the reflections off the car windshields, all that stuff. I've been out here all my life. I know when reflections are happening from a light. These were moving, just right, floating around, but there were two of them in particular, and they looked like a set of eyes. And they moved when I talked to them, I said, I can see you. And when I said that, two of them slid down the side of the building that sits over there, the old building, and went down the side of it. And right before it got to the end of the building, they just kind of lowered at the same time. And she sat up on the tongue of that flatbed trailer of mine and just growled at it the whole time. And I was telling her, I see him, just chill,
now,
you know.
What do you guys think about the some of the orbs that people are videotaping, where it's dropping stuff from the bottom of it onto the earth, onto the ground, down below? It looks like it's a dripping type of a silver liquid type of stuff that they've been reporting a lot lately. Do you think that's just basically them seeding the planet for other life, or what?
I don't know. I have not seen that, so I have to look into it. So I don't know enough to have a good comment on that. I've never seen that before. That's
I've heard a few experiences where they talk about that. I have no idea.
Yeah, they recorded it, a lot of it. Yeah, they recorded a lot of those type of videos up in New England area, around Maine and Massachusetts and New Hampshire area, around the Green Mountains and the White Mountains up there. But I remember seeing one video of a group of orbs. There was like 3 orbs, and the one in the center was dripping stuff down, one drop at a time, and it came out maybe 10 to 11 drops before it blipped out and just disappeared.
Maybe they are seeding the planet like War of the Worlds.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking, because it wasn't actually a craft that came out of another craft, because it dropped straight down from it, almost like if you had a real pinhole leak in like a water line, and it would drip occasionally. It was kind of like that.
So it was dripping like slag from a welding rod. That's what I kind of got from it.
Exactly.
But one night I was at a party at this house, and the electrical lines had a water leak in them, and the light bulb busted in the room we were in. And when it busted, it blew out, and I saw electrically charged water, and it could have been ozone from inside the bulb drip down like that. That's what, when you say that, that's what I think of. Craziest things I've ever seen.
I haven't got anything on Messenger yet. It's only been from Stuart and Penny so far.
This is insane, because it's not even letting me get into my pictures now. It's like somebody else is controlling my phone. William,
for 3 or 4 months, I couldn't even watch your show because I couldn't hear you at one point in time.
That's too weird. Oh man, come on.
Something was blocking you. Something was interfering.
Yeah. On a lot of this stuff, like I was saying earlier, on the loss of time, I've literally drove from Stratford to the house and don't remember the whole ride home. And that's about a 45-minute drive. I made every curve, turn, back road, highway, everything, and I don't remember a damn bit of it. And that's happened 3 or 4 times. Now, I have also driven home, and I could have swore I was driving through a desert. I'm looking at deserts going, what the hell happened overnight? Dodging hay bales out in the middle of the road. So, I mean, I chalked that up as I was asleep driving home, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But I've had moments where it's like I don't remember a damn thing at all. Like, how the hell did I get here? I've seen different kinds of UFOs all over the world. I mean, it's amazing what you can find. And first, nine. Now I'm going to throw you back outside if you don't quit. You're tearing my stuff up on your butt. Sorry, Fluffy Butt is being a pain in the butt at the moment. But But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of weird stuff.
You-
Now, as far as that golden string, possibly could it be seeding? Yeah, I don't. I mean, but I hate to comment on something I don't know a whole lot about. But I mean, the possibility of it being seeding is there, and kind of what Jessica was talking about last night. I agree. Some of them could be from inside the planet. But I think we have a lot from outside. There's plenty of videos showing UFOs coming from space into the Earth as well. I mean, you got to think they have a higher technology than we do. Just because Elon Musk can't get his rockets out of there does not mean that they don't have the capability to do it themselves. And people forget that aspect. We think too physical and we think too little. Got it. I got it.
You got it?
It even came up on my personal now.
Oh, for God's sakes. This is getting too weird, man. They are trying to hack my stuff big time, and that means we're getting on some sensitive material that they don't want anybody knowing about. One thing that I really, I've only told my wife and my children this. Nobody else has been told about what I did sometimes in the military, because I still don't talk about a lot of the stuff. And I was actually at Area 51 2 weeks to train security staff on security protocols while I was in the military. And, I saw all kinds of weird stuff in the sky there too. In fact, I took a drive one time while I was in the military to Bradshaw Ranch. Anybody know what Bradshaw Ranch is?
That sounds very familiar.
Google it, because it is a ranch that's in Arizona that is basically really, it's kind of like Skinwalker Ranch. It has a lot of weird stuff going on. And the plain black helicopters, silent helicopters, have been spotted in the sky. And me and a buddy, we were in the military together, and we were part of the security protocol at 51 for the 2 weeks to just basically train small weapons and live round, firefights and stuff like that, because they wanted the specific training. And we got into a little bit of the EOD end of it too, with them, to teach them how to take out a big building if they needed to. Me and my buddy went to Bradshaw Ranch, and they have this metal, like a cattle gate fence. You all know what a cattle gate fence looks like, the big rounded end ones that are like 10 to 14 feet long. And they had this sign on there posted private property. And we got right up to that fence, and we couldn't, we weren't able to get into the property. But as soon as we got up to that fence, there was a Black Hawk helicopter in the sky. Okay. And it was on silent mode, and it was watching everything we were doing right there at the gate.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Actually step within the. Yeah. And as soon as we
how they go to silent mode, it's amazing.
Yeah. And as soon as we walked away from the fence and got back in the vehicle, the helicopter was gone. It disappeared completely. So it's just really, really odd to me. So
I've had one at nighttime sit there messing with us at a friend of mine's shop, and it would hover over the top of us, and it would go silent. They would leave their lights on, and then all of a sudden, they would turn their lights off, and all of a sudden, it sounded like it moved to a different location in the air, like a different spot, and then you'd go, it's over here, and then all of a sudden, they'd turn their lights on, and they'd be over here. It's almost like they were playing with us. And this is back in the probably 94, something like that. And I had no idea what those things were capable of messing with me like that.
Corey and Eric, and everybody in the chat, Penny and everybody in the chat, David, Ida and Roxanne and everybody. If you can give me, and Juno, I know Juno, my brother Juno down there Dulce, man, I wish I could come down there and just spend some time in Dulce with you, Juno. I really do. Tracy and I need to have a vacation before I go. But you know, one thing I want to ask everybody is, what do you think about the effects of going out at night and just like having a little fire and maybe just doing some meditation and concentrating on contacting the entities, just like that one doctor does with his group, you know, kind of like a almost like a mind meld type of a thing where you just meditate on communicating with the beings in these crafts, because he says, God, I can't remember his name now. Somebody help me out. I got a brain fart. Oh man,
I know he's talking about. He's over in China or Japan, something like that. You talking about that one where they sit up there on top?
No, this is somebody different. He's here in the States. In fact, he's here in Virginia, I believe. God, I can't remember his name.
I didn't hear about that one. I knew about that one. It's over in China or Japan, and they sit on top of that mountain, and they do a deep Buddha meditation, and they've been contacted and had UFOs show up from doing that.
Well, there's a cult in Indonesia, I believe. It's either Indonesia or Malaysia, where the cult actually built their temple on a location where they kept on seeing a lot of UFO activity going in and out of this mountain range on the island. And this cult actually is very, very secretive anyways. God, I wish I could remember that doctor's name. Stephen Greer.
Dr.
Stephen Greer. Yeah. Okay. And he does the meditation. He has groups all around the country doing the meditation thing and communicating with these beings that are in these crafts. And he's got some very, very cool pictures of these beings showing up on camera right next to people that are meditating. And he said that they've done healing that way, that people have been healed physically that way, and other things. And that they have more increased activity when they meditate. And basically my thought on that was, how does he know that he's communicating with aliens and alien technology when he could be actually communicating with demonic activity? You know, and that's the whole theory that I have on it. You know, it's not a guarantee. It's like using a Ouija board and somebody on the other side saying, "Oh, I'm just a ghost. I'm not a demon. Don't worry about me." You know,
that's what they do. I'm your friend. That's what they tell you.
Exactly.
I'm very careful about my meditation. I generally try to stay away from stuff like that. My meditation basically is to quiet my mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what he says to do. And he was actually an emergency room doctor. That Stephen Greer is. He's got literally thousands upon thousands of people. Yeah, he's got thousands upon thousands of people around the world that do that meditation thing. And they'll break out the drum, you know, like a rawhide drum, and they'll do drumming and stuff and meditate. And, you know, some of them will set apart from someone else that needs healing, you know. And I really don't think that they're communicating with extraterrestrials. And if Dr. Stephen Greer is watching this, we've got to have him on the program, because I would love to interview him and find out why he thinks that this is aliens that they're talking to and not possibly something demonic supernatural, you know. Because like you said, Corey, they will lie to be your best friend, and then as soon as they get you to where they want you, they're going to manipulate you any way possible.
Yeah, they're waiting to get their hooks in.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
I meditate to
photo.
build up my protective barrier. Is what I use mine for. That's it. I don't try to communicate with anyone. Mine is a protective measure.
Yeah,
I've learned I have to do that before I go out. If I don't, or I don't feel like I'm in the right place, I won't go.
Yeah. Go ahead and pop that picture up, Eric. That's the picture I was talking about. Yeah. Now the bottom one and the top one, they look pretty much to be the same craft, but I mean, if anything would look almost,
that looks like a newer version of the SR-71. The
That's
design.
what I was trying to think.
Yeah.
That's what that looks like.
The back fins. See the back fins on it? The back fins are angled at almost like a 30-degree angle inward.
Yes.
On the back fins. That's remnant of the actual F-14 Tomcat. It had those wings like that too, the fins that came back at an angle. And I wonder if they're just incorporating all these different design concepts into this new craft, and maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that's what I saw. I don't know, but I don't think it'd be as big as what I have seen, in the past. That's the thing. It wouldn't be big enough to cover a baseball field.
Yeah.
But I've heard about a new version of the SR-71, and that looks like what they're describing. Much like it.
Okay. All right. Well, then that must be it then.
I mean, that actually look at the nose on it, everything.
They spotted that same craft. 2 police officers in Australia picked up this woman at a party and to take her home, and on the way to taking this woman home that they knew because they worked in the same police department, they spotted that same description of a craft hovering above the police cruiser that they were in Australia, and they even drew pictures of it and everything, and it looks exactly like that craft there. And she was coming from a party that was on one of the U.S. military bases there, and she reported, her car breaking down, and saw the craft in the sky, and the police came, picked her up, and took her home. But they saw the craft also. But as soon as they started talking about it, I'm telling you guys, they stopped the communication on all the information given out about it. So maybe it was that new SR-71. So,
and they could have reversed engineered that. That could be a reverse engineer design from a craft. That is very well possible. Right. That's why I think a lot of these interplanetary ones are reversed engineered, and I mean, some of them, yes, I'm going to say is extraterrestrial. Don't get me wrong. But I think a lot of them, and it's my opinion, y'all, my theory, my hypothesis. I feel a lot of the interplanetary ones are more reverse engineered than they are extraterrestrial. I'm a firm believer that extraterrestrial actually come from outer space. Now, there's plenty of reports, plenty of evidence throughout history suggesting aliens have bases on the U.S. or in this world, underground and on ground, and in the ocean. Right. So, is there going to be some of those that's going to be interplanetary? Absolutely, there is. But once again, like I was saying earlier, we get too many times we get caught up on the now, the newest, greatest thing, whatever somebody says that fits everybody's, tickles their fancy, and they don't stop and think. They don't think about that section right there. You have to think outside of the box. You got to think widespread. They do not have technology. They have better technology than we have. So just like I said earlier, just because Elon Musk can get his out doesn't mean they can't get theirs in. They have better technology. Well,
how come, answer this, Eric, answer this then, and Corey. Mm-hmm. How come NASA spent all those years, quote unquote, going to the moon, and they were never able to develop a rocket that would return to the landing pad. And how come Elon Musk is the only one that could do that?
Well, exactly. Oh yeah. Yeah.
So,
there's a lot of, now, I'm not going to sit there and dispute that we have not been to outer space. I firmly believe we have been to outer space. But do I believe that we've done as much as they said we have? No. I think a lot of the stuff that's come from the outer space deal, we're not told about. I think a lot of these pictures we get is from a different craft, not the one we're told is being used. That's kind of where my theory is on that. I believe they have technology that, yes, because A, reverse engineering, or B, because they're working with the extraterrestrials, they have craft that can actually go into outer space. We won't know about it either ever, or it'll be another 50 years down the road before they finally admit that. I mean, you're just now coming out about UFOs. You really think they're going to spill the beans on everything else right now? Nah, man. Think about how these yahoos work. They ain't how they do it. They really ain't.
Yeah. True.
I'll hear your thoughts. I mean, I'm going to grab some more coffee real quick.
I know. I came empty on mine. So. Yeah.
Y'all mentioned Dulcie.
Roxanne made a comment about she is on his channel, basically Steven's channel. I have that app on my phone also, and I'm going to actually try that sometime here in the near future, and I'm going to record it and see what happens. So about the meditation, because I haven't tried it yet, but I definitely want to and see just what happens. Because as much activity as we have here, and I mean we're pretty close to a lot of prominent military bases. We've got Andrews here. We've got all kinds of the airports around here. We got BWI. We've got Reagan National. We've got all kinds of air traffic. We've got the naval shipyards, and all kinds of stuff here. Within, when I say locally, I mean within, like, say, 8-hour, circumference around our area. So we see a lot of stuff that other places don't really see because of the amount of military around this area. So maybe it is something that they're testing to see how the public reacts to it. But my big concern right now is I think we have multiple situations with multiple sightings. I don't believe everything is U.S. military or UN military, I should say. And I don't believe everything is alien or even terrestrial. Reverse engineering is fine, but it answers maybe 70% of the problem that we're finding in the skies, the stuff that we're seeing. So what's the other 30%? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There's really no, I mean, we have the best pilots in the world coming out and talking about what their interactions are with these things, and they can't even keep up with it. Mm-hmm. with the latest technology that our pilots have in our military currently, they can't even hold a candle to how fast these things go, or these things turning on a dime. So I mean, take for instance, back in 1984, the Japanese pilot reported that huge acorn shaped craft that looked like a freaking planet over Alaska when they were flying over Alaska. They said that this thing traveled with them, and it basically was huge, like a big Death Star basically, but it was an acorn shaped craft that was huge. And, you think about things that are reported like in 1965, when that acorn-shaped craft crashed in Pennsylvania in Kecksburg, PA. It was an acorn-shaped craft. It looked like an acorn. That was reported, but it was small. It was like one or two men could fit inside it, and that was about it. Did they go from that small object to something humongous that is interstellar? I mean, there's so many questions that we should be asking, and unfortunately, nobody's giving us the correct, response that we're asking. They even the disclosure hearings were still hush hush. They didn't cover questions, about, they put up the whole, oh, it's about national security thing. Well, that's bullshit. If it was national security, then why are people like myself, when we were in the military, going in locations with above top secret security clearance and teaching people certain things? It's not about national security all the time. I think it's about them beating out other countries that are in the race to reverse engineer this stuff. And that's pretty much it. That's why they're doing all the soft disclosure stuff. So I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but that's just my opinion.
Oh yeah, I mean, so what I've done in the military, I'll agree with you on that. There's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes that people don't know, and it ain't always necessarily one or the other. It is always, I need to be better than the next guy. So, Penny's got a question for Corey. Corey, do you have Facebook? I've tried to find you to see if you post pics of your discoveries.
No, I permanently deleted my Facebook account probably about 7 or 8 years ago, and it was one of the best things I've ever done. I can't be on there anymore. I'd get on there and I don't know. I started pulling a lot of negative energy from it, and once I deleted it, I could tell the difference in the quality of my life. And one of the best decisions I ever made. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I'm not on Facebook a whole lot myself. It's mainly just for like my author stuff. Mainly is why I'm on Facebook now.
Someone told me I should get back on there, and I said I can't.
Yeah.
It affects me that much. And just so much negativity.
Well, I think it's going to come a time, guys, where we're all going to have to basically go on Rumble and make that a permanent site, because the way they're censoring stuff, and they're trying to basically quiet the people on Facebook and YouTube and even X now has gotten to the point where they don't want you to talk about sensitive subjects. So that pretty much only leaves Truth Social and Rumble left for us that talk about this stuff. Okay, for us to have an outlet to reach people, and they're trying to basically quell or crush Truth Social and Rumble from being in existence. So they are actually trying to silence us in a way of being silenced because we can't fight back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They're tying our hands behind our back and punching us in the face, basically, is what they're doing. So
yeah. Well, like I said, I mainly use it for my author stuff. Outside of that, I mean, and that's one of the reasons why I got off of TikTok. TikTok was getting to be a pain in the ass. I still like getting on there from time to time, but I've had to cut myself back a lot. I don't do a whole lot of social media. Most of my social media is done by watching podcasts, honestly.
Right.
Outside of that, unless I'm doing something for my book or I'm just kind of bored at the moment, I don't do it, because not only does it consume my time, and it takes me away from reality, but you're like you said, there's a lot of negativity to it. And could that be why these things are put up the way they are? Is to insert negativity into you? I noticed there's a
And to
difference
spy on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and we all know that from dealing with the world that we're dealing with, definitely a lot of negative forces, a lot of dark forces in the world, and they could be manipulating what we're seeing in the sky very easily. In fact, last night on Jessica's, I'll reference her program again. Because Eric and I, we were all in the chat there for a while and talking about the giants and all that, and how they're starting to come back, giant sightings and all that, and people are starting to notice all the giants coming out of the earth now. Who's to say that isn't the negative forces that control this world trying to manipulate what we're seeing? Because we all know that when you're talking about shapeshifters, and this is a subject that I hold near and dear to my heart because of my past. When we talk about shapeshifters, I've always said that there is a shape-shifting alien race that lives among us, and I've seen it firsthand. Okay, but you've got reptilians out there that Eric and I have proven the bloodline to several different directions, which puts them right alongside of us. We've showed the videos. In fact, I can show it again, the videos, because I've still got them. Let me see here.
Something's messing with your audio, William.
Yeah, I know. Let's see here. Let's see. I'll play the shorter one here. This is one that I put out the other day on the podcast. When it comes to shape-shifting entities,
we lost Corey.
This kind of gets me along the lines of a vampire type of a shapeshifter.
Stay woke.
Just play it.
The Illuminati archive. Okay, that's Keanu.
Not it. Hold on. Where is it? Let me see here.
Это кадры съемки на мобильный телефон концерта Сергея Шнурова и группы «Рубль» в элитном поселке Горки-3. В разгар выступления в банкетном зале вдруг погас свет. Камера зафиксировала этот момент.
Выступление, на самом деле, как выступление.
Did you see the glowing eyes? Did you see the glowing eyes? Okay, that's what I mean. These beings are right alongside of us in our own society. Okay, and are they supernatural in nature, or are they extraterrestrial? Is my question.
Yeah, that can go a half a dozen one way and a half a dozen the other on that. Could that be bots? Could that be aliens? Could that be reptilians? Could that be demons? The Lord knows.
Right. And I just, I find that fascinating that, with all this, we have this uptick in sightings in the sky with UFO activity and UAP activity, whatever they want to call it nowadays. And we're seeing more sightings of beings alongside of humans at the same time. So is this a seeding program? Is this a planetary seeding program that they're conducting to see if we notice these other beings living amongst us, or what? I don't know. But we're going to save that question for another day. We're running on 2 hours now, and I'm getting short-winded. So
Yeah, Corey just texted me. He said I completely lost my ability to access YouTube.
oh geez, yeah. See, they're messing with us, and I noticed that the count of people watching is getting less and less and less. So, with that being said, I think we should just go ahead and close this out before we really kick up some stuff. And and we'll, I've got several programs coming on this coming week. I got a Wednesday night. I'm doing a Midnight Monsters podcast Wednesday night. So, and we're going to talk about the Goat Man. So, that'll be a good one. And then we've got our regular Into the Red Rabbit Hole Friday night at 11 p.m. And then Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be doing the Paranormal Weekend Morning Brew show again, Eastern time at 11 a.m. Okay. If you can, like, heart, and share this as much as you can, please. And if you care to donate, just go to the members only and join the members, because I put out videos and I'm working on a really good one right now. So, that'll be uploaded here within the next week. So that being said, we also have super stickers and super chats and all that if you want to help the channel out with that. I've decided to help Eric out with his channel and getting something situated with the super stickers and super chats here too. So
you don't need to, brother.
No, I know I don't have to. I don't even have to say anything. I can just do it. So, anyways, yeah, they're starting to mess with me now.
Yeah, he says I keep trying, but it won't let me access.
Yeah, because they're messing with me now too. My audio, I can see my audio going out. So, anyways, everybody, have a great weekend. Go to Eric's podcast today. And join it because it's going to be a Q&A thing, which would be really good to do. Maybe we can even continue the conversation that we had today here. So, everybody, I want you to be safe. And watch the skies. You never know what you'll see. I mean, it very well. There could be things in the sky that we don't see every time, but yet we know is there. So keep your eyes in the back of your head, and stay faithful and stand strong in your faith, and question everything. That's the only thing we can do, really. Question everything, and that's why we talk about these subjects. So, Eric, if you want to go ahead and let them know how to hold to you and your channel.
Yeah, man. If you go to YouTube, Rumble, X, Patreon, Twitch, forgetting one. YouTube, look up the Bizarre and the Unknown. If you see that symbol, you got me. I usually do campfire chats on Saturday, 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. And then Sundays, I do my regular shows at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, which today's, like William said, is going to be a Q&A. I've just not had a chance to research anything for a main topic. So I was like, I have yet to do a Q&A. So, by golly, George, that's what we're going to do today, baby. And I'll answer the questions as best as I can. You can also find my books on Amazon.com. Go there, type in e.d.testerman. And if you click the name above my book, it'll send you to my author's fan page. Anytime I do new release, it'll let you know when I got it out. Also, my merch store at Teespring, Bizarre and the Unknown. I just dropped the wall art. I had somebody request a wall art for a new book cover that everybody voted on. I did get that uploaded. And also, do not forget to go to Williams Bonfire Store and into the Red Rabbit Hole. Get his shirts and he's got some great stuff on there, folks. Coffee mugs and stuff like that too. Support him. Go to his merch store as well.
Well,
But yeah,
all right. Well,
what are you
we
doing?
will see everybody tonight on Eric's show. And everybody, remember, question everything, okay? Question everything.
Heck yeah.
All right. That's our right. We have that right. Everybody take care.